I'm Joshua Pringle. I'm here with Wendy Eckel talking about her new mystery novel. Obviously, you mentioned that this is a kind of cozy mystery where you have an amateur sleuth solving the mystery. But you've also described the book as a social media mystery.
That's right.
Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Absolutely. In this book, Rosalie, along with 3 friends who kind of join her in solving this crime, and let me just say a little bit about that. These are 3 friends that she meets in a memoir writing class. And it's a lot like The Wizard of Oz, where the first one signs up, and then the second, and then the third, and the next thing she knows, they're all on this quest. And they all have their own issues. The first one is a 72-year-old man who's recently widowed and...
Looking for a heart?
Yeah, well, he's actually very wise. So he's the wise one in the quest to solve this murder. Then comes Tony Ricci, who is in his mid-40s, been divorced twice. So he's the one that's trying to find love. He's, internet dating, all that, and living on a sailboat because his wife got the dogs in the house, right? And then there's Su Ling, who is a young 20-something Korean American, and she's very shy, and so she becomes very brave in this investigation. So anyway, they're all trying to solve this crime, and they use social media to get clues, to find out more about the victim, and it becomes almost a character in this book.
Social media becomes a character?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And how does that play into the mystery? I mean, how does the way people use social media play into it? Like, it does, some people open up more or share things without really thinking about it too hard when it comes to social media. So does that play into the way the story unfolds?
Sure. I mean, there's one suspect who pretends to be this one person, and when they get onto her Facebook page, it reveals an entirely different person. Mm-hmm. And the photos can reveal so much about a person, and I think a lot of people think they're controlling their image in social media, but a lot of times it often reveals more than they wanted to. So that helps them with one suspect. And the victim herself was actually a victim of social media as well. I think it began her demise. She was a star soccer player for the University of Delaware, and very beautiful, and someone snapped her picture and put it on the internet, and it went viral. And as it turned out, people started showing up at her games and with telephoto lenses and stalking her. She even did have a stalker who is one of the suspects. So it was her undoing, and she had to leave the life she had and go to a different college. And so it's really interesting how it plays into all the different aspects. So.
What kind of research did you have to do did you do research to understand how social media works at a deeper level?
Oh, absolutely. I was new to social media, and you were one of my resources. I know I went to all my 20, 30-something friends and family and said, okay, tell me everything you know about the ins and outs of social media and how you can use it and how people would find out things. And so.
I think someone told you to watch Catfish, right?
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yes. Absolutely.
What other kind of research did you do? Because God knows when you're writing a story, you find yourself learning every little thing about just one thing that comes into the story. Was there?
Yes.
I think you said you did some research on organic farming.
Yes. When she first moves to the farm, she has no intention of doing anything with it. And then the original farmhand shows up. He's in his early 40s and sort of a not very verbal character, but and I was just going to have him be a minor character, but he ends up sort of taking over the story a little bit. And I fell in love with him too as a character, and there's a little love interest between he and Rosalie, but he starts farming again, and he's an organic farmer, and she becomes very interested in that. And they end up making it a sustainable farm. So, and I find that all very interesting, but I had to do a lot of research about that.
Yeah.
And also when someone drowns, how do you know whether they actually drowned or were put into the river before? So there's a lot of things like that I had to research.
Doing your homework. That's
right.
Good.
That's right.
Going back to the technology again, do you ever worry that with technology changing so quickly that something in your book might seem antiquated 10, 20 years down the road? Like I've heard filmmakers say that they'll get some producer who wants the newest gadget in the movie, and they're like, oh, we gotta have that in the movie. And then you look at it 5 years down the road, and it's like somebody wanted the first cell phone in a movie at one point, and now you look at it and it's like a giant thing that just looks ridiculous. So do you ever worry about the technology changing so quickly that if someone reads your book several years down the road, it might seem out of date?
Sure, that's a very good question. I think, first of all, that I want it to be authentic to that period of time. So the year that this is set, that's where social media is at the time. But in sequels, I hope to keep up with the technology. And even since I finished this book, there's so many things that keep happening. Like, someone will brag about a hit and run on social media, and the police have been able to track people down by that. There's all kinds of twists and turns in terms of crime and social media, and so I want to keep up with it.
So just in what you see in the news today, you mean?
There's something every day, something new.
Stuff popping up.
Right.
So what if in a future book you got technology to the point where you had machines becoming animated and autonomous? Maybe they start to overrun the Eastern Shore. Did you ever think about that? Yeah, Rosalie Hart having to become a bionic woman and use technology to save herself from technology. What do you think about that? Movie rights. Hello. Jodie Foster? How'd you like to be a bionic woman? What do you think of that? No?
That didn't occur to me.
Put that on the back burner.
Thanks, Josh.